Gonna see my slides. What's up, guys? Welcome to Coffee is for Closers. All right, I've got all my electronic gadgets going. So this is episode number, I almost said 26, but it's really like 36. So, 36 episodes deep, right here on Coffee is for Closers. And, thank you for being here and hanging out with me. If you miss this, you can always watch the replays or you can listen to them on Success Unfiltered. You can really just do whatever you want to do. I mean, I'm kind of all over the place. I try to, make the best use of my time. So I've got 6 cameras going at the exact same time. I would call that really efficient. I'm all about really being efficient. So again, this is Coffee is for Closers, episode number 36. You know when they tell you to do things consistently, I would say I'm probably the most consistent person I've ever met. Like I'm pretty impressed even on my own. But this is a tutorial on really how do you qualify leads? How do you work and choose who you want to work with? How do you work and choose like your vendors? How do you choose your investors? Qualifying leads can come in multiple areas. So I'm going to share with you some stories. Some are maybe funny, some are not so funny, some are slightly embarrassing, but that's what keeps this show very interesting, right? If you guys want to see these slides, you just need to pop on over to the Pitch Queen on my Facebook page. That's the best place. If you're watching somewhere else, that means you're getting the behind the scenes version. So you only get part of it behind the scenes. But if you want the whole thing, it's best for you to pop on over to the Facebook page. That's where I would like for you guys to come join me. So come on over, join in on the fun. I don't see anyone there right now. So the Pitch Queen on Facebook. And then also, hopefully Amy will put in the comments if you guys want to get a reminder of like where to go. And, we're all so busy. She's going to put a little link in there that you can sign up for my bot. I have a little bot and it will remind you because we set the emails and every single, Etta, you got to come on the Pitch Queen page, not here. This is the behind the scenes. This is just like the life of Michelle because all my friends and family always want to know what the heck I'm doing. Well, this is what I do. They're like, well, how do you survive doing these like live streams? I'm like, well, we make it happen. All right, so I am going to share my screen. So for those of you here, you're going to see my screen. All right, now we're here. So, all right, I'm going to start all over, okay? I'm going to start all over. Let's start all over. Ian, when you hear this, we're starting all over. We're going to start right here. So this is Coffee is for Closers. This is a Facebook live show on the Pitch Queen page. And this is all about a tutorial on how to qualify leads. Coffee is for Closers is because I love coffee. I also like water. I believe you have to stay hydrated. And, if you're listening to this on a Saturday morning, then, morning cup of Joe, hot tea, it all goes hand in hand. And today, if you are a business owner or you are thinking about starting business or you're like me and you help service businesses that sell services of $3,000 to $30,000, then this is really a great show for you to hang out on with me because you're going to learn a ton. I mean, we talk everything sales related, and I truly believe that as entrepreneurs, we signed up for a 24/7 sales gig. I know it's hard to believe, totally understand, I get it, but it's the truth. If you think about it and you're not at a job, that means that you have to get your own clients, right? Like it's your job to now get your own clients. When you have a job, they're giving you prospects, they're giving you clients, they're giving you, leads to call on. But if you're on your own, it's your own job to figure it out. So today is all about, well, how do you qualify these people so you don't waste your time? A lot of people have told me, you know what? I waste a lot of my time. I don't have a lot of time, and I completely understand, and I totally get it. So today we are going to talk about cup of wisdom. So what actually happens when you don't qualify your leads? What are some things that you can listen for to help qualify the people you want to actually work with? And what is BANT? That's a good one. So check it out. You'll see it on my slides. But that means that you have to come over to the Pitch Queen Facebook page to see my slides. So if you don't want the behind the scenes version, then come on over and join me over on my page, where I hope all of you just come on over all the time now. So that is what we're talking about today. And what's really interesting is if you qualify your leads, you're going to start working with quality people, right? Would you prefer, now think about this, would you prefer to work with 100 people, or would you prefer to work with like 10? And what if you made the exact same amount of money? Think about that for a second. You want to manage 100 people, 100 clients that pay you like $10. You want to manage 10 clients that pay you $100. You get the same equal financially, but who do you want to work with? So Aristotle said, quality is not an act, it's a habit. And I truly believe that. It's when you decide that you want to work with quality over quantity, that's a habit that you're going to have to stick to, because you're going to be turning away a lot of people. When you go to qualify your leads and who you want to work with, you're going to really, what I call, set up boundaries. So for those people that have worked with me one-on-one or in my sales courses, we talk a lot about boundaries, and a lot of it is, I want you to think about it, but for those of you who can relate, back in the day when you used to go to a nightclub, there were like these red ropes, right? Or if you think of the Emmys or the Grammys, only certain people can get behind those red ropes. Well, that's because they're qualifying their leads almost, right? You can think of it as the same thing. Who are you going to allow in your club? Who are you going to allow past your red ropes? It's very similar to when you're qualifying leads. Who do you want to work with? Who do you want your vendors to be? Who do you want your purveyors to be? Who do you want your investors to be? Whatever it may be, a lead can have a multiple meaning. So let's go over what happens when you don't qualify leads, and then I'm going to give you an example. So number one, you're going to waste your time. I hate wasting time. I'm all about efficiency. You might get bad clients, so quality declines. The type of client you want to work with will actually go down. If they don't fit your niche really well, then you or your team has to spend time working on something that isn't their specialty, which makes no one happy. It's like you spend all this time working with somebody who doesn't even fit who you really wanted to work with, because you're trying to squeeze them in and fit them into your mold or your boundary. And you can also ruin your reputation. So let's go over, an example. And all of you guys know I help my friend Dominique with her business, and it's primarily with CPAs and enrolled agents, right? Okay. Now, for all of you the guys that know that, now there's a lot of CPAs that rather work with quality than quantity. I am all about that. I'm all for that. However, to change that mindset and to make that commitment, you have to invest a lot of time in learning, in understanding how to communicate differently, and setting up your boundaries and sticking to your boundaries, and understanding that you can't be everything to everybody. And it takes a certain type of person. So if we talk to 10 people that are interested in learning how to do that, really only 2 or 3 are actually committed to that. So again, when we're qualifying leads, we're qualifying based on commitment. How committed are they to actually making a change, getting the outcome, and seeing a different result? It takes time to change a habit. And when you've been doing something for the same amount of time for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, trust me, it is hard, and I totally understand. Tell me in the comments below, how do you guys qualify your leads? So who here is on Instagram? For you guys, can you put in the comments? I want to know what you guys are doing. Let's see, who's here on Facebook? For those 2 on Facebook, can you guys comment below and tell me, what do you do now to choose who you want to work with? How do you qualify your leads? I'm curious. So put it down below. Let's see what you guys got. Okay? Because at the end of the day, if you don't do a really good job on this end, you're going to get what we call bad apples. And, I'll share a story. It's kind of funny. There's one woman who, I guess you could call just like pain in the ass, if I'm just going to be real, right? She was just a pain, and it was really difficult to even, she wanted to change, but she didn't really want to change. You know when someone says like, I want to do this, or I want to go on this trip, and then every year you talk to them, they never ever go? Like, saying is one thing, but doing and taking action is a whole nother ball game. And I'm all about action. I've been told a lot of stuff in my days, and I think it's a bunch of BS, actually. Like, you can tell me all day long you're going to do X, Y, and Z, but you actually have to follow through. So anyway, back to my story, because I'm on a little tangent. This woman was so difficult. And I knew it in my head that she on a qualifying level, I knew that she would be a bad client. But I was like, I really, really wanted to help her. I knew there was potential there for her. But here's the thing, and it's a saying that I'm sure you've heard before. I don't know how it goes, but I think it goes like this. Like, you can show a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, right? And I was thinking with this woman, well, I could feel it, and I knew that, like, Dominique could totally help her. I knew it. And then she just ended up being the biggest pain in the butt. Like, not a good fit, bad apple, everything in between. I should have just said, no, you know what? I just don't think we're a good fit. And the reason why is I bent a boundary. And when you bend a boundary, that's what's going to happen. So again, on the qualifying leads thing, you guys need to really think about who it is that you really want to work with. Because it really could ruin your reputation. I mean, luckily we lucked out and she was on her merry way. But it could have been a disaster, and that's happened a couple times. But again, it's really, think about 3 things on how you qualify people, okay? So again, for me, it's commitment. I know that if I can help somebody, they have to be really committed. Like, even in my sales class, okay? I just did an 8-week sales course, and part of the work is that you have to turn in your homework every single week. It's a big commitment. I know homework totally sucks because I'm in Spanish class right now and I have to do homework. And there's been a week that I actually didn't get to any homework. And you show up to class and you don't have any homework, you look like a moron and you don't feel that great. But again, I'm qualifying based on level of commitment. I'm qualifying based on motivation. What is their motivator? What's driving them? I'm also qualifying based on a few other things, but what I'd recommend is thinking about what are some qualifying questions that you can ask that will help them out. Okay. Time out, you guys. So put down below how you're qualifying, and then we're going to get to them at the end. And then for those of you on my personal Facebook page, it's time for you to come over to the Pitch Queen. Have a nice day. That's it for the behind the scenes today. All right, so we were doing it there, and we'll delete that. You guys need to come over to the business page, okay? That's where everything's at. All right, so let's see what you had. Acuity survey. Good, Jody. That's awesome. Etta, if they are okay with our rate, we move them to next. Okay, so you guys start with rate. Depending on what you're selling, the rate might not be the best thing to start with, but let's hold on a second. CMP CPA, if the client initially asks about price and discounts, I give them a higher price or just say we can't service their account, because that to me is something they will look at money and no value. I agree. I literally just taught on this topic. CMP CPA, what is your name? I'm curious. Are you in sales class with me? Anyway. So let's carry on to the next topic. Let me share my screen. Again, if you guys want to see these slides, you need to come over to the Facebook page. We'll send each person watching a message when we're done with the reminder, so you get the reminder, okay? All right, so the next page is what happens when you don't qualify leads. Okay, well, we got a little ahead of ourselves, right? Oh, wait. Hold on a second. Give. Okay. Things to listen for to help qualify leads. That's what I was going to do. Carmen Peters. Oh, hi, Carmen. I knew it had to be you. Hi, Carmen. Yeah, I was just teaching on that topic on Monday, actually. So things to consider when you help qualify leads. Carmen, Etta, Jody, everybody, this is going to help you, okay? They give you an excuse. If you hear excuses on the front end, it's a great way to, that's like a red flag. Yes, you heard me right. Excuses can help actually resolve problems and show that also maybe they care. So it could be green light or it could be red flags. So just listen up on why I think that. Sometimes also to qualify leads, you want to work with people that have some really good goals. So what are the goals in their businesses, or what are the goals with your clients? Maybe they know a lot. This is a great way to get them to have interest in even buying or becoming a client. And you have boundaries for your clients. We just talked about that. We've talked about that before, where really you want to come up with at least 3 to 5 boundaries for your clients. Don't do what I did, where you get like a really bad apple and then it's a disaster in a nutshell. It's not good. And have really good qualifying questions. So using something like an acuity survey or a woohoo form, something like that where you can come up with some really, really great questions is a great way to qualify leads. So let's discuss things to listen for to know when not to qualify a lead. So maybe when you really know someone's wasting your time is they're inconsistent with what they're saying to you. Okay? I'll give you an example today. So a guy called me today. He said he wanted to rejoin a program, and, he's comparing us to like 8 different people, whatever. But he was just so inconsistent in every single thing he said. I mean, he was all over the board. He was talking about marketing, direct mail. I'm like, who does direct mail these days? And I'm like, I don't know where this guy is, but he's like in outer space, seriously. And really think about what's a deal breaker for you? Like if you think about it from the point of what's a deal breaker and what's not, kind of like in a personal relationship with someone, it should be the same with the clients that you work with. It shouldn't be any different. Right? If clients are inconsistent with what they say, they're distracted. Another great way to qualify, like for me, is if you're going to be talking on the phone when we have an appointment scheduled, you're not going to be good for me to work with. I will go absolutely crazy. I only work with people that are focused, committed, and are willing and ready to take notes, and that they know that this is serious business. If you're going to drive and talk at the same time, that means it's not really that serious, unless it was like, hey, we're just going to catch up. That's different. But if you're thinking about, for example, Carmen, right? Carmen, she's CPA, and she really wants to work with clients who see her value versus her price. Well, a great thing for Carmen to do, which she is already doing, is maybe ask them a few questions. What's important to them in their business or their family? What is something maybe they haven't done in the last year that they really, really want to do, that they haven't been able to accomplish? And she's qualifying, because if someone just calls to ask her the price, it's very difficult to help somebody like that. It's just extremely difficult. So also, if they give you really short answers, that typically means they're not that interested. Or if they're talking over you. If they're talking over you, they're definitely not even listening to you. So how are they even hearing anything that you have to say, right? And also, if you listen to last week's episode, it's a great refresher. So just go back a week and listen, and it's got some great information on exactly this topic. But other questions that you can ask for qualifying leads, let's say Carmen wants to work with business owners that only do over $250,000 in revenue in their business and $500,000. A good qualifying question would be, what were your annual revenues last year for your business? Right? And if it falls in line with what you're looking and who you're looking to help and serve, then that is a great question. How much revenue did you do? Or let's say that you want to only work with craft breweries, right? Like Kevin's here and he does video and he really wants to work with really hip breweries because he likes to drink beer. Well, that's great, but what happens, if the companies he works with are really, really small and don't have any money, because he needs to figure out, well, do they have a budget for me to work within? So maybe a good qualifying question for him would be, what are some of your goals for 2018 in your business? So he can think about, well, can I help them solve some of these problems or goals that they're looking to achieve through video? If there, is there a value proposition for him, right? So yeah, those are some examples. So if you want to type in, what is one question that you use to qualify leads? I would love to know. Type it in the notes below, or comments, not notes, comments. Who's here? Jody, Etta, Carmen, you guys have anything else that you want to share? Anything else? Going once, going twice. Okay, we're going to keep going. So Amy came up with this, and I thought it was really clever, actually. So good job, Amy. This is a helpful reminder on how to qualify some leads, okay? It's an easy little acronym, and it's BANT. I was trying to think, how can we turn it into the pitch queen or pitch, but it didn't work. So we'll just roll with BANT. So there's a few things that you want to think about when you are ready to work with somebody or want to work with somebody. And for me, it's like budget, right? A lot of you probably want to think, well, does this person have the funds or the means to work with me? Do they have the budget? If you're selling a service of $3,000 a month, does this client have a budget that will fit for me? Well, I don't know. Are they capable? You can ask some qualifying questions to see if budget is in line with what you're doing. Okay? So that's one. Authority. Does this person have the authority to buy? Do you want to work with them? Are they a decision maker? Okay, I'm going to go off on this decision maker thing. As a lot of you know, I work with extremely high-level CPAs that I love. You guys are intelligent, smart, you save people a ton of money, you help people pay less to the IRS. I am all about it. However, there is one thing on the qualifying department that we are missing the boat on. And that is, if you help a husband and a wife with a service, that means that one of your qualifying questions needs to be, so, Joe, when we meet to do your taxes or your tax planning, I just want to confirm that you and your wife will be there together. And if they say, the husband says, you know what, this is all my decision, actually, I make all the decisions around here. This is something that I highly recommend you kind of shift, because I have yet to see any of these high-level people, business owners, high-net-worth individuals where the significant other wasn't actually part of the decision-making process. And here's why. Did the wife sign on the marriage certificate? Yes or no? My guess is yes. Also, if you live in a house, did your wife sign or husband sign, it doesn't matter, it goes both ways, on the mortgage part and the deed on the house? My guess is yes, which means that your qualifying question needs to be, I need to make sure that both you and your husband or you and your wife are present at all of our meetings. Is that something you're willing to commit to? And honestly, that is a huge one, you guys. Authority is big. You might not be talking to decision makers. I'll give you another example, because this is how I was able to, even with my last company, it's not about working with clients. It's actually about me, or, for some of you listening, you might try to get your products or services within another company. Okay. So we had a store within a store model concept. And I had to go find the authority at the company who makes decisions. Very important, because that was a lead for me, right? If you think about it, the vitamin shop at the time, 2 years ago or 3 or 4, can't even count anymore, was a lead for me. However, when I'm looking at the leads, I'm thinking, okay, do they have the budget to work with me? Number 2, am I talking to a decision maker that will actually make a decision and make a purchasing, buying decision? Yes, I found that person. Do they have a need? Does this client actually have a need or a problem that you can help solve? At the time, yes. Vitamin Shop had a need. They needed to differentiate themselves in the marketplace. They wanted to come from more of a preventative approach versus all the supplements, and prevention starts from food. I mean, the food and the juice and everything that we put in our body is 80% of how we look, feel, operate, etc. That's a whole different topic, and I'll go on a rant on that another time. But also timeline. When is your prospect planning to work with you? Okay, so BANT, it's a really good, it's a really cool thing, and it's on point. It is so true. I can't even tell you how true it is, because if I look at all these different scenarios, it actually goes into play with all of them. Every single one of them, this model of BANT actually falls in line. All of it. Budget, authority, need, and timeline. Those 4 things are the magic to growing your top line revenue. And if you can qualify based on these 4 things, maybe come up with a question for each one, then you're going to be all good in the hood. Okay? All right. Those are my slides for today, you guys. That was good. That was like perfect timing. I am going to go into some live Q&A. So type your questions in the comments below, and let's get over onto some questions and answers to finish up today, which was episode number 36. Also, Jody, Etta, and Bethany, can you guys hit the share button on your Facebook page and share it on your personal pages real quick? Because I want to spread the love to everyone else who this will really help. I don't know how you guys can do it on Instagram, to be honest. I don't think you can share on Instagram, so sorry. Bethany, you asked, what does BANT stand for again? Okay, let me show you. BANT stands for budget, authority, need, and timeline. You might want to just go rewind this 5 minutes, and I give you a lot of examples of how BANTing actually has helped me out, and I didn't even know it. But Amy came up with this. I'm sure she found it somewhere online, but it's freaking genius. It's really great. So thank you, Amy, for doing that. You're wonderful. And by the way, let's give a shout out to Amy. Amy is always here with me behind the scenes. She's awesome. Oh my God, it's almost been a year, Amy, since we met. We've had almost our annual anniversary. We're gonna have to go out to dinner. But yeah, Amy helps me with the slides, so it's super helpful. But that's what BANT means. You need to qualify, maybe come up with one question for each on how to really think about a way to see if this person's gonna work with you in your budget. So Bethany, what is it that you sell again? I can't remember. Etta, you were going to tell me why price is not a good starting point. Oh yeah. I don't believe people buy on price. Okay. I have helped a lot of people that don't have a lot of money, but again, people buy because you're able to help solve a problem. So I believe that your qualifying questions should actually start by knowing really what's about them. What is the problem that your person has that you're able to solve? Price should be the last thing on your list. There's ways to go about, interesting that you can ask a question based on budget. Like with the vitamin shop with me, I asked a lot of questions like, how much money do you guys have set aside for a new project? Because at the time they invested over $1 million in the project. So it was a lot of money. Does that make sense? Oh, Bethany, does this change if you're dealing with indie one location stores.coms or larger. Yeah, I mean, I would say that your qualifying questions, yeah, I mean, you need to find out, like if you're going into a retailer, I don't know how they're buying, but for me, it was like I needed to make sure that they were going to pay us in time and up front. Actually, we got terms with 7-day terms. So for me at the time, I mean, that was $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month in revenue that I could not have in like working capital and fund it myself. I needed to make sure that they paid fairly quickly because I only had 7-day terms with the co-packer. So you got to think about what service or what product are you selling, and then which questions can you come up with to qualify to see so you're not wasting your time. Because if you're like me, I've wasted that's a bad word. I've wasted a ton of time on dealing with people that A, weren't decision makers, B, didn't know what the heck they were talking about, or just telling me what I wanted to hear. So you have to get really smart by coming up with some good qualifying questions that are thought out, strategic qualifying questions. So you really have to take some time to think about it, but hopefully my examples today will help you think through what's a good way to do that. So yeah, with prestige skincare, I mean, Bethany, who do you want to go and sell to? Like, who's one of your people on your hit list, your prospect list? Anybody? Are you still there? I don't know who's watching. Well, anyway, if for example, you're going to Nordstrom, okay, with your skincare products, they get asked a ton, probably, I mean, think about the buyer that you're dealing with. That buyer, you got to make sure is the prestige skincare buyer. Okay, bigger spas, multi-location indies. So bigger spas, let me give you an example. So I went to this really cool place in San Diego last week called Alchemy. I got a B12 shot, kombucha on tap. You know, that might be a place, but when you call there, you've got to think of like 4 questions that go based on those things. So are you talking to the decision makers? The first one. Another question would be, what is the price point of your products that you like to have in retail? Right? That's going to give you an idea if you fit in with what they're looking for. What are some of the biggest concerns that your clients have as it relates to their skin? What do they keep asking you for? What are the products that they keep requesting? So you need to figure out if you've got the solution to that spa's problem. Make sense? All right, you guys, 1 more minute. Any questions? 1 more minute. The Sales Rainmaker joined. What's up, Sales Rainmaker? I like your name. That's cool. All right, Bethany, I hope that helped you, okay? I asked what are the top 3 goals you have for your biz this year? Oh, Jody, okay. My biggest goal is really to grow the podcast and outreach and really spread the message. So that's why I ask each of you if you can share this on your pages. Maybe give a heart, maybe give a like. That would be awesome. Another goal of mine is that I work with really, really high-level CPAs that do tax planning that help businesses that are typically doing $500,000 or more or super high net worth individuals save a ton of money in tax. So I'm all about helping them get really, really confident with their sales conversations and everything else in between. Like this, qualifying their leads, making sure they set their boundaries. Who will they work with and who are they going to say no to? Because you also have to think about it. You can't be everything to everybody. It just doesn't work. You asked me 3 goals. Another goal for me is really just spreading my message to all of you to help make a difference in your life. Because I definitely believe that if I can make an impact for each of you, it's just going to spread. And it's spreading every week, slowly but surely. So hopefully that answers your question, Jody. It did. Cool. Good. I'm glad that helped, Bethany. Etta, I just did 2 demos and they were all in until they found out the cost. I still need to sort that powder out. I like the band. Yeah, Etta, It's the fact when people bow out because of the cost, that's an objection. So maybe you want to revisit what we talked about for that whole month of rejections. I don't remember when that was, but that should help. But also, it's really getting to the pain a little bit more. You got to get to the deep, deep pain, right? Strategic questions to get to why would they even want that? And for, I think you saw like software stuff. How can you relate the results of your software to show the value that it doesn't matter if the price is $5,000, $10,000, or $20,000, but the value is so great. So if people bow out because of cost, you might also want to think about what are some similarities in those types of clients, and maybe you want to ask qualifying questions because maybe they're actually not a good client. They're not a good fit. Typically, there's some patterns that you're going to start seeing when you can't help somebody. And when you cannot help somebody, analyzing and recognizing those patterns is very, very powerful. Okay? True. Yeah, very true. All right, you guys, I'm going to sign off. I will be here next Tuesday with you. We are going to be on episode number, 37. Again, if you can, I'd be grateful if you can just hit the share button, share it on your page, give a little one sentence on what this is and what we do, and have an awesome week. If you have any further questions, just feel free to type them below or send me an email at hello@thepitchqueen.com. Thanks, you guys, and have a great day. IG, we are all done for today.